to say thank you to all of you for joining us this morning. Today we are providing an update on Milwaukee County's ongoing recovery response efforts following the extreme flooding and thunderstorms that our community experienced over this past weekend. With that in mind, I am joined by Cassandra Liebel, the Director of our Milwaukee County Office of Emergency Management, as well as Dr. Ben Weston, our Chief Health Policy Advisor for Milwaukee County. Director Liebel will provide an update around OEM's response efforts, including the ongoing damage assessment process that our team is currently carrying out today in many neighborhoods throughout Milwaukee County. Dr. Weston, he will provide some guidance regarding our flood-related health impacts and what residents should know and do to stay safe and healthy in the days and weeks to come. But to start, I want to recognize the gravity of the moment we find ourselves in today because of this weekend. So all across Milwaukee County, thousands of people are still dealing with the aftermath of the flooding. Residents have been displaced from their homes, properties and belongings have been destroyed. Businesses are facing monumental damage that threaten their livelihoods. Trash and debris has been spread all across Milwaukee into many different neighborhoods, and more hardship is being felt among families across our entire community. Now, the floods have brought some devastation to our region. I know this has been an incredibly challenging and devastating times for many of our community members, our residents, our families, but also our seniors and those with disabilities. And we're doing everything that we can to provide not only the support, but the resources and the information that folks need in order to navigate these challenging times. So I want folks to know that this is going to take a lot of hard work. This is going to take collaboration. It's going to take time, but it's also going to take some partnership to make sure that our community is whole again. And we need to make sure that we're doing this to help people not only get through this, but to address the significant damage that this flood has caused as well. And that's what Milwaukee County government is committed to doing in the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks, as well as months ahead. And so as we move forward, collaboration with the federal, state, and our local officials will be key. On Sunday, I declared a state of emergency in Milwaukee County so we could immediately begin coordinating with our state and federal partners to support our community as a whole. And since then, I've been in daily contact not only with Mayor Cavalier Johnson, but other municipal leaders across the county as it relates to our flood response efforts. We're also in close communication with Governor Tony Evers as well as the Wisconsin Emergency Management Team. And yesterday, Governor Evers submitted a request for FEMA that clears the way for the entire state of Wisconsin to receive formal presidential disaster declaration and federal disaster relief in response to the recent storm damage. Now, if this is granted by the federal government, this will help us not only rebuild, but it will help us recover at the same time. It is my strong hope that the federal government will step in to provide resources that our residents need. Now, what I'd like to reiterate is some key information that affected individuals should know as we move forward. Milwaukee County residents should continue calling 211 to report any damages. You can also visit our website, county.milwaukee.gov/2025, where you can find a lot of different resources, but we want you particularly to click on the 211 damage report link so you can directly submit your damage report so you can avoid the wait times on the call. Some people may be asking, why should I call 211? Residents should call 211 not only to report damage, but to seek out additional resources and to be added to a regional database used by local organizations that are out here helping those who have been impacted by the flooding. We want folks to understand that the volume of responses to our request for state and federal funding and resources is based on Milwaukee County reaching a certain threshold of damage from this storm. And so to accurately prove the extent of this damage, we need everyone in this community who has been impacted to make reports so we can compile the data. In order to help impacted folks long term, I am pleading to the community to report their damage as soon as possible. Now, Director Liebel will go further into details on this, but as it regards to garbage and debris, the city of Milwaukee does have 2 drop-off centers for trash and recycling that are free to use until Sunday, August 17th, and they're open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and you can learn more at the City of Milwaukee's website, city.milwaukee.gov. I would highly encourage that if you're going to those drop-off centers, try to be in line with your vehicle by 5 p.m. Because they will cut off to make sure that folks can get in. We also know that other cities and towns in Milwaukee County have other ways of getting rid of their damaged items, so we're asking you to please check with your local municipality for more help. Whether we're talking from Oak Creek to Glendale, this is truly an all-hands-on-deck moment for all of us. As it relates to shelters, you may have heard that the 2 temporary shelters at Holler Park as well as Washington Park Senior Center are now closed to people who have been impacted by flood damage. But with this in mind, if you are displaced from your home or experiencing homelessness due to flooding, please call the American Red Cross of Wisconsin at 1-800-RED-CROSS for resources and services. And if you're experiencing any housing emergency due to flooding, you can go directly to Milwaukee Marshall High School for shelter, which is located at 4141 North 64th Street. And for our homeless population, we want you to reach out to our Milwaukee County housing department, particularly our outreach team, and they can be reached at outreach@milwaukeecounty.wi.gov for assistance. And while we're on housing, during the last few days, our housing navigators have worked to find temporary indoor placements for impacted people. They've been conducting wellness checks as well as connecting folks with critical resources. The Milwaukee County's homeless outreach team has also been focused on engaging people, particularly at encampments that have been located close to rising waters, as well as river locations, which we all know that rose to dangerous levels following the weekend's extreme flooding and storm. I also have a couple other updates from Milwaukee County. Our Milwaukee County Transit System buses, they are fully operational, and people should check the UMO app for any flood damage related route changes. There are many Milwaukee County parks and trails that were damaged during a severe weather event, so please be vigilant, please be careful when visiting a Milwaukee County park in the next few weeks. We also have several Milwaukee County facilities that remain open and operational, so please visit our website, again, county.milwaukee.gov, to check on the status of a Milwaukee County facility that may be near you. Now, people in the community may also be asking, how can I help out with the relief and the recovery efforts? And that's a great question. So if you have an organization that offers cleanup services for survivors like property cleanup, property rebuilding, and or survivor services, please create a crisis cleanup profile online to be connected with individuals who are in need of help. If you'd like to donate money, you can donate and contact the United Way of Greater Milwaukee and Waukesha counties. And if you would like to support folks experiencing food insecurity, Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin has launched a dedicated emergency food response fund to purchase large allotments of food for their pantry partners that have been most affected by flooding, as well as for residents in our hardest hit neighborhoods. Now, this fund will allow workers and our volunteers on the ground to quickly restock shelves and bridge service gaps, and those who are interested in making a monetary gift to the Emergency Response Fund can do so at feedingamericawi.org. And if you would like to donate supplies, please connect with nonprofit organizations that you may already be donating to, or to organizations that are trusted partners within our community. And we also want you to please reach out to nonprofit organizations who are needing volunteers. All of this information, the links to resources, they will be available on a new Milwaukee County website that we just rolled out today. And so again, I want to encourage all of our residents to visit, again, county.milwaukee.gov/2025 flood resources. I will repeat that, county.milwaukee.gov/2025 flood resources. This website will be updated on a rolling basis as our recovery efforts continue, but you can find, again, important information, resources, as well as guidance on this website. And just a couple additional thoughts before I pass it over to Director Lebo. First, I want to plead to the community for your patience. Please give us patience. This is going to take time to get through these recovery efforts. This is an ongoing, evolving situation. And so we're not going to be going back to normal tomorrow, and probably not anytime soon. And so we need people to understand that this road to recovery, this will take time, and we need your patience. And we also need you to step up like many of our neighbors have been doing. And so as the damage assessment process and the various recovery efforts continue, we're going to do everything in our power to keep the public informed. And that is my promise to everyone right here within Milwaukee County. Second, I am eternally grateful to all our Milwaukee County emergency response teams, our workers, for really stepping up to support our neighbors who are facing some of the most difficult times in their lives. And I've seen many of our first responders out in the field. And so I want to urge everyone in our community, if you see a first responder, if you see a volunteer, if you see someone lending some help to our neighbors, please thank them. They have been working day and night to help our community recover, and they absolutely deserve to be thanked. And then lastly, let's continue to support one another as we move through these recovery efforts, because this is a challenging time. We need everyone to check on their neighbors, check on businesses, check on the strangers who are down the street. We have to lean on one another if we want to get through these recovery efforts, and I'm extremely proud to see how our community has really stepped up and the amount of support that we have seen even outside of Milwaukee County. Because in order to move forward, we simply just need to lean on one another. And so we here at Milwaukee County, I truly believe that not only we are strong, but we are a resilient community, and I know that we're going to get through this together. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to our OEM director, Director Cassandra Liebel.
Thank you, County Executive. I'm, again, Cassandra Liebel, Director of our Office of Emergency Management. And Milwaukee County has been actively responding to the recent flood and working closely with our municipal first responders and emergency management partners throughout the state to ensure safety of our residents. Our top priority will always be our safety of our community. With that being said, we are moving from our response effort that took place from Saturday through the early parts of this week, and we are now moving into the recovery phase, but we are in the infancy of that phase. So as the county executive stated, bear with us, be patient, give us grace as we collect information. This is a process that will take some time, and the first step in that is contacting 211 or submitting your information to 211. That information allows us to get an accurate assessment of the damages that our community has endured. And that is the first mechanism for us to do that, but we also are currently having individuals with our disaster response team going out into the communities and collecting data so that we can verify the extent of this damage and physically looking at these spaces. So you will see those individuals out in the community over the next couple of days. We hope to conclude that assessment, the initial assessment, so that we can submit data to the state. That is the first step for us to apply not only for Wisconsin disaster relief funds, but also for FEMA funds. We currently have 150 personnel deployed throughout the municipalities. To date, we've had about 2,400 damage assessments that have been completed, helping to identify that immediate and long-term need for our residents in the municipalities. They continue to evaluate the impact on public infrastructure, as the county executive spoke of, roads, park systems, bridges, waterways, of the such, and preliminary damage assessments already exceed $23 million. But those numbers will continue to grow as we work through the process, and FEMA will be coming in shortly to verify and assess those initial numbers to ensure that they are verified according to FEMA standards. The state incident management team will conclude their operations today. However, Milwaukee County will continue to coordinate the remainder of the damage assessments, working closely with our municipal partners to ensure all areas of the county are evaluated. So if you do not hear from us within the next couple of days, do not be disheartened. We will continue to be out in the field making those assessments. When this process is completed, we hope to have a more accurate picture of the damage. However, the true extent of the damage will be reveal itself over time. Again, this is a process. Our team remains committed to supporting our residents and municipalities and our partners throughout the county. We want to ensure that we have any needs that are coming up, as the county executive spoke of, are being available. We're correlating that information into platforms that are easily accessible to our community so that we can find out what you need and try to meet those unmet needs as quickly as we can. So again, we ask you to bear with us, but we are moving forward with the process, hoping that as we complete our original damage assessment, that information will be submitted to FEMA through the state, and then FEMA will make their assessments, and then that process will continue to move on. And as that process moves on, we will keep you updated. But as I'll move on to some of the other issues that we are facing as we move through this. Like I said, we are in recovery and response because people are still continuing to be impacted. And so we do have some health concerns that we want to make sure that we are addressing to make sure that our community stays safe. And so I will pass the time to Dr. Weston to speak on some of those matters. So thank you.
Thank you, Director Liebel. Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, over the past several days, our community has faced a historic moment for Milwaukee County and for much of Wisconsin. In just one weekend, record-setting rain fell across our county, so heavy that it transformed streets into rivers, filled basements in minutes, and left folks stranded in homes and vehicles. We've seen the images and we've heard the stories. A grandmother rescued from her minivan, cars swept into intersections. We've seen lots of parks turned into lakes. And yet in the middle of the storm, in the middle of the night, something else happened as well. Neighbors grabbed shovels, they grabbed boats, they filled sandbags to help strangers in need. Our firefighters waded through rushing water to reach people in danger, and they did that over and over and over and are still doing that today. And county and city workers worked tirelessly to restore power, to clear debris, and to keep our neighborhoods safe. And I think moments like this remind us that health is more than just about preventing disease. It's about the environments we live in and the safety and integrity of our homes and the ways we work together and protect one another when our community is tested. Flooding is one of the most visible health threats that we face. We see it rushing down the streets, we hear it pounding on our roofs. However, you can't always see the danger that those waters leave behind. Underneath the surface, floodwater can hide sharp debris, broken glass, and dangerous electrical currents. Floodwater also often contains sewage and chemical runoff, things you don't want on your skin or sticking around in your home. And if it's not cleaned up quickly and properly, it can lead to mold that can exacerbate health conditions far after the waters have receded months and even years into the future. And that's why we say floodwater is never just water. It's a health hazard that must be treated with caution. Now, as the waters begin to recede, the work of recovery begins, and recovery can be just as dangerous as a storm when we don't take the right precautions. So here are a few key things to remember as you're cleaning up that those flood-damaged items and drying out those spaces to prevent mold and further damage. Number one, protect yourself. This means avoiding touching floodwater that could be contaminated, wearing heavy gloves, waterproof boots, a mask if you're indoors when handling those debris. Second, staying safe around electricity. If water has touched outlets, wiring, or appliances, which is common in the basement when the water rises, don't use them until they're confirmed safe. And third, dispose properly. Municipalities have set up large item pickups and free drop-off sites for flood-damaged items, so use them. And this will keep our streets safer, our neighborhoods safer and cleaner, and certainly speed up that recovery process. These steps each sound simple, but they can prevent serious injury and illness as we recover. And recovery after a flood does take time, as we've heard. It's built piece by piece, clearing those hazards, cleaning safely and thoroughly, and helping one another wherever we can. So if you see a blocked storm drain on your street, clear it if it looks safe to do so. If you have the strength to help lift debris from your neighbor's basement, go and help them out. Keep checking on your family, on your friends, and on your neighbors, not just today and tomorrow, but for the days and weeks to come as this is a process. And I would say to all our firefighters, our law enforcement, our city, our county employees, and every resident who stepped up over the last few days, thank you. Your actions have saved lives. They've protected property, and it shows what it means to stand together as a community in a time of crisis. And for those who continue to struggle, we are reaching out, as Director Liebel mentioned, and we will work to help you. This storm tested us as a community, but I think it also revealed our strength. So let's carry that forward. Let's make sure every action we take, from clearing a drain to helping a neighbor to removing debris, builds a safer, stronger, more prepared community for the future. And this is a process. We'll continue to work. We'll all continue to communicate and share resources and information on recovery efforts in the days and weeks ahead. Thank you very much.
All right. Again, I just want to reiterate, if folks need help, need assistance, need to fill out the damage report, please visit our website, county.milwaukee.gov/2025 flood resources. We'll take any questions folks may have.
What's the estimated damage cost at this moment in time? Have you been able to get that final number, or are you still calculating?
I would say I'll let Director Liebel answer that, but we're still out there assessing this damage. I think it's safe to say that at least when it comes down to public infrastructure, I think we're probably well over $20 million in damage there. But do you have anything else to share?
No, I second that number. We're in excess of $20 million. 23, I think, was our last number. But again, we have teams out in the field now assessing even additional numbers. So we anticipate that number will go up over time.
To damages to bridges, to parks, so how did it get to that number, you would say?
It is a collective of all of the above.
Is there a difference between individual assistance and community assistance from FEMA? Because a spokesperson recently told a local reporter that there is no threshold that needs to be met for assistance, for financial assistance.
There are different pools of resources through FEMA, and obviously determination is made by them. There is individual assistance programs, which are deemed at helping homeowners recover their stability of their homes. So that is a recovery process to make sure that we have safe living, but that can be assessed through loans and things of that nature. And then there's the public assistance, which will help with the infrastructure items that we spoke about.
So should individual homeowners be seeking FEMA assistance themselves?
That is what the process is for right now, so no, they should not be reaching out. The process is for us to make the assessment to make sure there is a threshold, and that is determined by FEMA. And so that threshold, once they make the assessment, going out verifying the damage assessment information that we collected in the field, they will make a determination of whether or not we qualify for either the individual assistance or the public assistance funds. And then that process, when they hopefully release those funds, will then be established on how people can try to apply for and appeal for those needs.
So right now, it's too early to say that it will look like reimbursement for people with federal aid or anything like that?
Yes.
Got it.
Is there a timeline for completing the assessment process? Like, do you have, when will the number be going to FEMA?
We hope to have the numbers in this week, and then FEMA has their time to process and verify that information. So I can't give you a timeline, but we hope to have the preliminary numbers to them this week.
And has there been any, like, critical county-owned infrastructure that's going to need, like, immediate repairs that's been identified? And if so, any idea what the cost of those repairs is going to be?
I do not have that information available to me at this time.
Were there any parts of the county that were impacted the most by the flooding?
I think we've had widespread damage for a variety of issues just related to urban flooding. But I believe, obviously we've seen news reports in Tulsa, in the downtown area there. We've seen significant impacts in West Dallas. We've seen some on the North Shore as well. So we've seen quite a bit in pockets across many other municipalities. So I don't think any individual municipality outstands the others.
Anything else? Last question?
Doctor, we're seeing people cleaning out and piling up all this debris, and there's definitely a smell going on. Are there health concerns that residents should be worried about when it comes to just outside as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the flood water can be all sorts of different things. It can just be rainwater, it can be sewage backup, it can include chemicals. And so the water itself certainly can cause problems, especially if it's indoor and you're breathing all that in, so you want to wear a mask. If you're outdoors, if you're smelling it, you're still breathing it in, so you may want to wear a mask in those situations as well. And then it's about being careful in the water. We can't see what's underneath the water. A lot of the stuff we've seen in the public has receded, but in people's basements, there's still water sitting there in a lot of cases. There's still a lot of damp stuff in a lot of cases, whether it's carpeting, rugs, boxes, anything that's porous and is damp, you unfortunately just got to get out of there. It's going to cause far more problems than whatever it costs. So unless you can clean it in your washing machine, get it out of there, get it out of your house, and start drying things up as quickly as you can.
What are some of those health problems? Does that include black mold or sepsis or cholera?
Yeah, so the most common thing we're going to see is mold, and that's going to be a big problem as we're moving forward. And so really, unless in the first few days, really by this point, if you're not getting stuff out of your house and getting it dry, whether it's with fans, with dehumidifiers, with towels, whatever you're doing to get things dry, you're going to start having mold growing. So you've got to get everything dry as much as you can. If you can get remediation services in there, great. If you can't, get the wet stuff out and start drying things up. The problem is that mold continues to grow. And so over the coming weeks, it starts exacerbating conditions. And so if people you might have mild asthma, you might have bronchitis or chronic lung disease from smoking, and you get by each day and you do okay. When you have mold in your house, everything gets worse. And for little kids with little airways, things get worse as well. And so those aren't problems that we see today. They're problems that we start seeing next week and next month and a year from now when people are having those sort of conditions exacerbated. So that's what we want to avoid, especially on a large scale.
For the county executive, has your office, or do you know, have you heard whether FEMA representatives or representatives of the federal government have been in contact with the county or the state? Have they been on the ground? To what extent is the federal government getting involved in this?
I personally have not been contacted by the federal government or FEMA, but I know that our Office of Emergency Management, as well as the Wisconsin Emergency Management, has been in contact with FEMA. I've heard that there may be representatives from FEMA on the ground as early as Monday, but I think there's more to hear about that, so more to come on that.
Last question?
Just one quick question. Will the state offer like free food to share to anybody, for example, and for those who lost power like they did back in 2008 with the last flooding happening?
Again, we're still going through the damage assessment and trying to figure out what those exact needs are, but it is our hope to, again, bring as many state and federal resources back to Milwaukee County.
Thank you.
Thank you.